Hey everybody, it's the Vic-E Vic-E back with another video. And in this video, I'm talking with the lovely Geneva. And we're talking a little bit more about Lichen Planopilaris. And she's going to tell you a little bit about her story. Hey Geneva.
Hi. Hi.
So we've kind of been talking for a bit now, so we're a little bit more comfortable with each other. Um, could you tell everybody else a little bit more about you?
Okay, so my name's Geneva. I'm from the UK, originally from Jamaica. I am 44 years old. I'm a mother of four, and I was diagnosed with Lichen Planopilaris in June 2017.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I'm a very busy person, combining work life, home life, married life. I'm always busy. I'm always on the go. I love fashion and I love beauty and I love dolling myself up and stuff like that. So, being diagnosed with lichen planopilaris was a bit of a blow to me personally, especially growing up being told that your hair is your beauty and your hair is your crown and stuff like that. So it was a bit of a blow to me personally. And it knocked my confidence a lot when I got diagnosed for a very long time.
So I actually found you on YouTube and I kind of learned a little bit about you. So I have some questions to ask you. And that's because I've watched the video. So if anybody wants to watch the video, you can watch it. I will link it down below in my description. So please check it out. And she has a few videos and a Facebook group as well. So
Yeah.
all that will be linked down below. Okay, so one of the first questions I have, you first saw signs in 2013 after
Correct.
giving birth to your daughter. Could you explain
Yes.
what signs you first, saw?
So in 2013, after I gave birth to my daughter, I noticed about 3 months after that, the sides of my hair were falling out. And I didn't necessarily have bald patches. You could just see like where the hair completely gone and it was just brittle close to the scalp. I didn't think much or read much into it because when I gave birth to my two sons prior, I had the same situation. So I thought, this is hormonal. Give it some time, it will go away. So that's basically the starting of what led to my knowledge of lichen planopilaris.
Okay, so you found that out. Then pretty much what happened after that? How long? I mean, I know it took you a few years to find out how long, like how long did it take for you to first find out? I could think it was 2017 you found that
Yeah,
you had it.
yeah.
What happened between then and first seeing signs?
Okay, so gave birth to my daughter in May. I noticed the loss of hair in about coming up just about summertime after my daughter had basically been discharged from the hospital. I went and saw my general practitioner, I think in mid-August, when I started feeling concerned. And I expressed to them that I've noticed that the hair's gone. And I'd started experiencing some burning sensations in the side as well. Explained all of that, and the doctor said to me, well, again, it's hormonal. Use these topical treatments, shampoos and stuff, and it will calm down once your body has kind of settled into itself. um, from there, I think the next time I went to see my doctor was in about January, end of January time, and by this time there was more hair loss. um, the loss had basically traveled from the two sides, and there were some patches at the front and at the back. And the burning sensation had intensified by then. Again, the doctor told me the same thing pretty much. It is hormonal. It's nothing to worry about. Just continue using the treatment that was given to me, and things will settle down eventually. I went back and I saw the doctor again about May, June-ish. At this point, it wasn't just the hair that was itching, the skin was itching. I had rashes on my neck, on my arms, in my back, down my legs, and it was just the scalp literally was sensitive to touch. I reacted to the sun in ways that I didn't react to the sun. And it was just a really, really uncomfortable time for me to be going through what I was going through. But again, the doctors sort of reassured me that it wasn't anything to worry about. It was just all package and part. They said, I think they told me I was having an allergic reaction. So they said, oh, it's hay fever. And then with the itching in the scalp and stuff like that, they said to me that it's hormonal. And with the rashes on my skin, they said it's eczema. So I expressed that I've never had eczema before. And I've never suffered from a fever before. So it's really funny that I'm being told that it's all of these things. So I was given a bunch of antihistamines to take with the same treatment for the hair, which was just a shampoo to calm the itching down. And they told me to use a cream called Aqueous Cream to wash, and it's a soap substitute. So that was to wash and also to moisturize the skin. Nothing worked. And then that from June right up until 2017, I made several trips to the GP, expressing at this point there was more patches, more bald patches. The entire front of my hair by this time had gone. The back had peeled off. And it was just multiple trips to the doctor expressing what I was going through. The discomfort, not sleeping at night, itching to the extent where I felt like I had something crawling underneath my skin in my head. But eventually I saw a different doctor who took me seriously and sent me off to see the dermatologist in 2017, where I had a biopsy and I was then diagnosed with the condition. Unfortunately for me, because it took them 3 years plus to diagnose me, I had lost, I'd say about 75% of my hair by then. And all the areas that I had hair loss in was scarred over. So I was then told that whatever hair loss I had would not regrow. And I was offered a bunch of injections and some topical treatments, but I felt so angry because it took them the length of time it took them. And I also felt like if I'd already lost so much of my hair, what was the point in me using or putting any kind of steroids in my body? Because I didn't think, what I would want was something that would bring back what I'd lost. I wasn't worried about what I currently had because it was hardly anything left. So yeah, that's basically what happened leading up to my diagnosis.
It's definitely tough, like tough to hear that if you found out earlier, they could have done more.
Yeah.
So how did you find out more about the disease? Like, did the doctor really educate you about the disease, or did you actually find out on your own? Like, what did you do to find out as much as you found out so far about the disease?
So the majority of information I have is based on research that I've done by myself. I was only told by my doctor that they could give me the steroid injections and that I could get topical treatments and that I should refrain from obviously pulling the hair that was left a lot because it would lead to me losing that as well. They also told me that the rest of my hair, if I didn't take the treatment, would eventually go. Because of how progressive it happened in the 3 years. And they told me that this condition was more prominent in Caucasian women. Apart from that, there wasn't anything else that I was told. So I literally went off and did my own research. I, went on Google, I went on YouTube, and I just started researching and looking at triggers, things that could trigger the condition, things that you could naturally take that would, calm down the sensations that I would get from time to time, the itching, the burning sensation, the flare-ups in my head, the times when, it would go really sore and red, stuff like that. And I started doing, things at home for myself because I didn't want any chemicals in my body at all that would trigger something else. So there wasn't really a lot of videos, I think, out there at that time from women who had had the same experience. So I decided, with the help of my daughter, to create a YouTube video. And once I posted that, I started getting women coming back saying that they had been diagnosed or they had the same experience or they were experiencing something that was similar. So the video sort of encouraged them to go and get diagnosed as well. One of the things that I found intriguing was that the majority of women that were reaching out to me weren't Caucasian, as I was previously told by the dermatologist. There were women from so many different backgrounds. So it led me to think, well, what knowledge do they really have on this condition if they're saying that the majority of women were Caucasian? And then it made me realize that it is possibly that women from ethnic minority backgrounds who have the condition have just accepted it. They've not even looked into it. They're not educating themselves on this symptom. They're not seeking medical help. They're just accepting that this is happening, and they're just going off. And obviously, with the whole, we're in an age or an era where wig is so accepted. So I think a lot of people have just said, oh, well, it's just hair, I can just wear a wig or I can just do this, and they've not bothered. So the knowledge aspect of thing, there isn't a lot of it out there at all. And you do find the 1 and 2 videos on YouTube from certain herbal doctors that will say, well, I can cure it. And you think within yourself, okay, there is a monetary aspect to it. Am I going to pay for something that is not factual? So, you sit back and you think, and I just decided that I'm gonna find out as much as I can and use the platforms that I have created and give advice based on people's personal experience as opposed to what I didn't know, or as opposed to taking information from people that I didn't know who weren't having the experience, who were just basically writing something based off what they were told by someone who had never been diagnosed or ever experienced it. So that's all my videos and stuff. They are genuine experiences from people who are going through the same situation and who have been diagnosed as well.
Kind of to add on to that, sorry, side note, have you found anything from anyone else that's kind of worked for you in any way?
I don't know if I've tried anything long enough to say it does work. I have used tea tree oil, peppermint oil, almond oil, jojoba oil, turmeric, so many different things, blends, onions, red onions that I've done, and they have contributed to calming down the itching, I would say. So I would say on that aspect, they have, combinations of oils have helped with the itching symptoms. I've not found anything that has caused regrowth in any areas that I've lost hair. But I would say in terms of just controlling the itching, there's a lot of oils that you can blend to nourish your scalp, to nourish your skin, that will definitely help with those itching and burning sensations.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, I haven't found anything particularly that works either, so I could totally agree to that. But I think a lot of people want an easy, quick fix. So,
Yeah.
or I should say an easy, natural, quick fix.
Yeah.
And I haven't found any of those things to be true as of yet. But it's always interesting to hear if someone else has kind of had the same experience.
True.
My next question is, do you have any other skin issues like eczema or contact dermatitis? You already told us about eczema. You already have
Yeah.
that. And the reason I'm asking that question is because I've had contact dermatitis. Um, I think I first found out in my 20s, around the same time when I found out I had Lichen Planopilaris. And then I also um, recently have had some eczema. I was like, what is this thing on my skin? I've always had like a few little skin things where I'm like, oh, I'll just ignore this and it goes away. But I've actually had eczema from soap and different things
Yeah.
as I've gotten older. So I want to know if these things correlate. Like this is something that impacts your skin, your scalp specifically. And I know that there's also I think there's a skin version of Lichen planopilaris that doesn't
Yes,
affect
there
the scalp.
is.
So I was assuming that this is a skin disease, and do all these like diseases that impact your skin all feature and come together? So I wanted to know, did you have any of these other issues?
I developed contact dermatitis about 3 years ago,
Mm,
which was a shock to me because I've never had any kind of skin problems prior to being diagnosed. I've always had good skin, clear skin, like not, I can't even remember in my teenage years growing up having pimples or anything.
mm,
I've always had pretty clear skin and pretty good skin. So when the itching started and then the rashes came up, I was really shocked. And to be diagnosed with that was a shock to me. I'm still under the care of my dermatologist for the skin rashes that I get because they don't necessarily come up in the same place all the time. It's different areas of my body that they affect. And luckily for me, I've always caught onto it as soon as I have a trigger. So I tend to stay away from certain things, like I'll change what I eat. If I ate something that may trigger a reaction, I would avoid that. I won't use soap on my skin whenever I'm having a flare up because I think it dries the skin out. I will always use, I just keep moisturizing constantly so the skin never gets dry and flaky or itchy. And I think that has helped me. And if my stress levels are higher than they normally are, I will try and find ways, whether it's going for a walk or doing something just to calm my stress levels down, which has also worked. Getting enough sleep, getting enough rest, and stuff like that has helped a lot as well. So whenever my stress levels are high and the allergies are flaring up, I just make sure I drink a lot of water, go for my walks, um, do a little bit of meditation if that helps, and just go for long walks where I'm just basically in the comfort of my own company and I'm just releasing anything that is negative out of my thought process for that day or for that period of time. So that's what I do that helps.
I think that's good. I definitely love a good workout. For me, that's a great stress reliever. So I agree with that too. Um, in terms of rest, I was gonna say rest is so important. I think a lot of times we don't give our body enough rest, and so that does impact our health. I would definitely recommend anyone who is having any issues to get rest because I think that really impacts people. And I think one of the things I didn't mention before, and I would love to say now, is that I actually have, what is it called? Oh, I have um like severe headaches. I forget what it's called specifically, but if I don't get enough rest, I'll just have an episode and pretty much I can't, like my eyes get blurry. I feel real sick. Um,
Is it migraine?
it's like, a tension headache. Oh,
Oh,
that's what.
okay.
So I have like severe tension headaches if I don't get enough rest.
Right.
Um, and I feel like a lot of people suffer with those things, and then probably it correlates with the amount, maybe one of the things that is a stressor, that could be a stressor that you're not paying attention to.
Yeah.
So definitely something to kind of like document.
I get severe headaches a lot as well, and I used to take pain relief for my headaches. I did some research the other day, and water and pineapple are supposed to be natural things that takes headaches away. So I have been eating a lot of pineapples, especially when I have headaches, because I don't want to keep medicating myself. or over medicating myself, because these are things that contribute to other health issues as well. So I rest, water, pineapple have been my go-to in recent times, because um, when I get a migraine headache like you, I can't function, I can't do anything. And my job that I do, I'm on the computer for 7 hours each day, especially where I'm working from home. So, I have made work aware that I do suffer from migraines. So if I wake up one morning and I've got an episode, the computer is going off, because my health is more important to me than anything else. And they're flexible enough that the job I do, I can pick it up at any point in the day, and I can continue, so it doesn't affect anything. But with my family and my children, they probably are tired of hearing me say, "Oh, mommy's got a headache, keep it down." I react, my levels, my reaction to noise is very I don't like noise. I don't like repetitive sounds. So those are triggers as well for me. If someone's just tapping in the same motion constantly, it triggers something within me, and I can't stand it. I can't be around loud noise, doors banging, stuff like that. So I think it's important, when you know what your triggers are and what affects you, and you stay away from those things, or you make people aware that these are triggers and be mindful, it does help a lot.
Yeah, I definitely think it makes sense to kind of tell your baked in family community
Yeah.
what's going on, because it makes your life easier.
Oh yeah.
And you need the rest, and your health is wealth. Like, that's the most thing. Like, you can't get your health back after it's gone. So it's so important. Does anyone in your family have alopecia or any other diseases that you think may link possibly, or show any signs that they also may have Lichen Planopilaris, or a disease, an inflammatory disease?
As my two of my aunts on my dad's side, they have hair loss. They've never been diagnosed, but they've had hair loss, like for significant periods of times in their lives. On my mom's side of family, I don't know of any autoimmune diseases or any inflammatory diseases of such. I know that there's cancer on my mom's side of family. Me personally, I've had a scare last year. So I'm more mindful in that sense, where I've got two daughters, and they are very much aware of all the things that I'm going through, because I'm documenting as I'm going along. So if, for example, my eldest daughter, who's 27, if she said to me, she showed me a bald patch in her hair the other day, and she didn't think anything of it, and I said to her, listen, do not sit back and think this is nothing. Go and get it checked out. And if she tells me of any other symptoms that she has, I will say to her, I don't know if there's any truth in what I'm going to say, but my mother always says first daughters tend to pick up sicknesses from their moms. They generally do. And my mom, a lot of the things that my mom suffered with, I've suffered with them as well. So I've always said to my eldest daughter, don't blow off. I'm not being negative, but don't blow off something that I've got. If you are seeing similar symptoms, go and get it looked into very early, because where I sort of blew off a lot of the things that I was going through, I've allowed them to manifest in my body, where if I had got treatment from an early stage, maybe they wouldn't have affected me as much as they have.
I think that's so important. I think, well, I live in America, so you know, um, there's a lot of time where we don't have, on my mom's side, there's so much history we've lost, right? We don't have that long history where we can go back and look at our medical records and say, okay, I had this thing, or my grandma's grandma. Like, for us on my mom's side, I know some things about my grandmother, but
Yeah.
I don't know enough. I know she's died from cancer, but I don't know anything about her grandmother. I don't know any,
Yeah.
about her great grandmother or my great grandmother. Like, I know none of those things, and
Yeah.
how important that could be for my personal health in the future. So I think it's so great that you're documenting these things, and you're able to tell your daughter, hey, do this thing, do that, so she can do better. And then for future, she's having children, she could do the same thing.
We do the same thing, yes.
So I just think that's powerful. and I'm glad that you're doing that.
Yeah.
And I find it interesting too, that I have on my mom's side, there's cancer. On my father's side, there's people with alopecia and different inflammatory and immunodeficiency diseases. So I definitely see a link. And obviously, as I continue to do these interviews and talk with more people, I'm hoping that I find out more information, and I'll definitely like keep it there so people can see. And maybe eventually, maybe we can make a big report and say, hey, I've done interviews with 20 people, and all these 20 people have had the same things, and that there's no coincidence in that.
Exactly.
So
Definitely.
we'll see what happens, but
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we can find out something and maybe find some way to find a cure or better coping mechanisms.
Chemicals, yeah, definitely. And that's very important because with this autoimmune illness, stress is one of the triggers. But when you get your symptoms and when you're going through a flare up, it is hard not to stress because it's stress related. It causes you to be concerned, and you know, to get up and to be itching for significant periods of time, or having a burning sensation in your head that you can't itch it because it's so sensitive. So you tap it, and then you head up with a headache, and you just have all these different sensations going on in your body. It's hard not to feel stressed out at the end of it. So how do you combat your stress levels to not get stressed so you don't have a flare up with the condition going on? It's really difficult. But what I would say is, because it's not something you can control, when you're going through your flare ups, you know, go through them and try and make yourself as comfortable as possible. I find that when I've got that sensation going on in my head, I'll go under a warm shower and just wet my head and just massage my scalp with oils or something, just to give it a release where I'm not erratically going at it, because that's only going to trigger it more. And keeping my body and my skin moisturized does help with the other symptoms that I get on my body. When you live in certain countries, especially in an area where there's a lot of people, the water you get from your tap can be quite hard on your skin. So you have to find solutions of, you know, what can I use? I don't use anything with perfume in it. As lovely as it would be to set a bath and you know, have a nice relaxing bath with all the lovely smelling body washes and stuff, I can't use them, and I've accepted that. So I've had to go for more natural stuff in terms of my body washes and even in terms of lotions, and just be happy with that. Plus, they work better for your skin anyway, because if you even learn how to blend up some aloe vera with oils and stuff like that, they can make your skin glow in ways that none of these other stuff that you buy on the counter will be able to do. So it's just about learning about your body, because my symptoms, even though they can be similar to yours, what I use to treat myself might work for me and it might not work for you, because we've got different skin types. So
Yeah,
it's just about researching and finding something that works for you.
I totally agree. Like I'm learning along the way, but I know that, yeah, natural stuff, like obviously because I have contact dermatitis, I know first off, they recommended that I get a test to see what my allergies are, like what I'm allergic
Yeah.
to. I haven't done it yet. But I know that some perfume stuff, like even perfume, like I've had perfumes and used it on my skin, and then the next day I have a rash on my skin. So I know that a lot of perfume fragrances and stuff like that, I can't necessarily use. But
Right.
right, if I got this test, I would be able to tell. And I guess maybe that's important to a lot of people who may have this disease. They should get that test, because then maybe they could help. Just, you know, maybe that's something that even on their head, like a lot of stuff that you use on your hair, especially Black women, when we have greases or soaps and stuff like that, it could be something that we're allergic to, but we don't
Yeah.
even know that we're allergic to
Yeah.
this hair product that we're using on our head. So I think that could be important too, just doing something as small as that allergen test where they kind of like scrape your skin, right? I think they do that.
Yeah, I've
And then
had
they
it done. I've had it done. I'm allergic to some nuts, not all. Um, I am funnily allergic to, there are certain trees in my area and I've been told I'm allergic to them. So I did ask the dermatologist. So if I'm allergic to trees, I can't necessarily go and say to the people that manage the area, can you cut these trees down because I'm allergic to them? So what do I do to combat like the allergies and stuff like that, because the trees are always there? And I think especially where my bedroom window is, there is one of those trees right outside. So no wonder I sound like this during the summertime, because each time I open my window, and I love natural hair and stuff like that, whatever is coming in, the pollen and whatever is coming from the tree, the bark or whatever, if I go past it, I have a massive flare up. And then I'm expected to take medication to combat that. So is there ever going to be a time when I go through my life not taking medication? I don't know. So it's not easy with all these different allergies and stuff like that, but you just have to find a solution or find something that helps you to manage and cope as best as possible.
Yeah, definitely. It's just crazy because I just feel like you learn so much and you're finding out new things all the time. And then just having to take medication, it's tough. It's definitely tough because there's side effects with every medication. It's just the hope is always to try to do stuff as naturally as
As
possible.
possible. Yep.
Mhm.
And my lovely walks that I enjoy going on, I try to limit them in the summertime, because the grass, the breeze, the pollen is, especially when the pollen is the way it is, I literally can't breathe. It's almost like I'm gasping for air because of all this, pollen and stuff that's going into me, and I can't do anything. So I hibernate and I stay indoors, which is not something that is good for me as a person, because I love walks. Walking is something that helps to relieve stress for me. So when I'm limited to those things, then I've got to find alternative solutions on how I can help myself, so I'm not getting an allergic reaction from something that is out of my control.
Yeah. I guess what was I gonna say? Have you tried, now that we're so in the state of using masks, have you tried any of those like masks where it kind of filters out some of the allergens and stuff?
Oh,
Maybe that might be an option if you haven't tried it. Not to say you love masks, but it might be an option, moving forward, maybe.
yeah, well, that's an idea. I've not really done that before, but yeah, that is something to look into,
Yeah.
especially now that mask is fashionable.
Yeah, everybody got a mask on. They ain't gonna know no different. You ain't gonna be looking weird putting on a mask walking outside. It'll be normal. People are like, oh, she's just wearing a mask, but it's
Exactly.
helping you be able to do the walks that make you feel good, you know?
Yes. Yeah,
So,
definitely.
I mean, especially when more like those masks might be more available now. Before they weren't because of everything
Yeah.
that's happening, but now maybe you could find them easily and get one that filters out all those kind of
Yeah.
allergens or basic or even a better level where you could breathe just, enough to be able to do what you kind of want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good idea. It's a good idea, and I'll definitely look into getting something like that. I'll add it to my list as we're talking.
Yay,
Mask.
yay, yay, yay. What is your biggest struggle in coping with the disease?
Ooh. One of my past biggest struggle, not so much now, was I hid the condition from my husband for a very long time. Um, Part of it was shame, and I'm not sure why. Um, I guess obviously from upbringing and being told that your hair is your beauty, and I very much love my hair. It was something I enjoyed combing, I enjoyed doing different styles and stuff like that. So once it went, I started covering it up, and people find it funny. How can you live in the same house with someone and hide it so well? Maybe he knew, I don't know, but he never let on. So that was one of my biggest struggles, was finding ways to deceive and to hide and to mask and to pretend like everything was well. And what that did for me, it was a struggle on a daily basis. It was eaten away from me, um, because I don't know why I feared that if he found out that my hair was gone, he would leave. So that was one fear that was there. The next one was, he would, even if he stayed, he wouldn't find me as attractive as he did. there were so many insecurities linked to why I hid it. And the more I did, the more stressed I become about it, because if I was in the bedroom combing my hair, the room door had to be locked. And if anyone came to it, I'd quickly run and push it up and say, I'm getting dressed, don't come in here. Or I would go in the bathroom to get myself ready. When the eyebrows went, I would go to sleep with eyeliners on. I would wake up and first thing I would do would get my eyeliner back on, because I didn't want anyone to see me without having eyebrows. So that was another thing I struggled with for a very long time, until I had my eyebrows done cosmetically. Um, and the last thing I struggle with is finding natural styles that I can wear um, to cover the areas that I've lost my hair in. That is kind of the biggest struggle I'm facing with at the moment, because I don't feel like putting a wig on every day. I am trying to psych myself up to cutting all the hair off, but I'm not there yet. So what can I do in this moment and in this time that does that, where I'm not wearing the wig, but I'm also wearing using my own hair, where I'm not putting things on my skin. How do I combat that? That's what I struggle with practically every day.
That's definitely a tough place to be at, having to figure it out on a daily basis. Like for me, I try to grow out, like I think every year I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to grow out my hair a little bit, and then I try, and then it falls out, and then I get stressed, and I'm like, oh hell no, I'm not dealing with stress. I'm cutting it all off, and I cut it all off, and then the spot is thin, but I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna cut it to so short and nobody can see it. You know what I mean? But I hate that. When I get to a place where I'm stressing about it, I'm just like, I have to cut it, because I
Yeah,
don't want to stress, because stressing will make it worse.
worse. That's
So
it.
I understand being at a place where it's like, where it's a constant, okay, I'm worried about this, I'm concerned about this, I don't want people to have to see this, and then trying to hide it for the moment. um and then how could you kind of do it without having to always cover up,
Yeah.
and you're kind of living a double life too,
Oh yeah.
in a way.
Yeah. Got a secret life going on with my hair.
Exactly. Secret life of my hair. Hmm.
Yeah.
So I totally get it, and I think a lot of other people will feel similar, and they're trying to hide it up, and that is probably one of the biggest struggles, or a big stressor, which makes it worse.
Yeah, it's a really big stressor. It's almost like when other people can just get up and just get ready and go out, I have to plan I have to plan my events. I have to be like, because with wigs, it's a wig can look really beautiful on you today, and tomorrow morning you wake up and you put that same wig on and you're not feeling it, just like with any styles. And I think your mood plays along with it. There are days when you wake up and you just naturally feel beautiful, because your energy is right, and you're seeing yourself from through different lenses from within, maybe. And because you're feeling good from within, what you see on the external really isn't that important, because you're already feeling great inside. But on the flip side, if you wake up one morning and you're not feeling great within, it doesn't matter how nice the wig is. If you put it on and you're not feeling it, you're just not feeling it. And then when that option is out the window, what do I do? Even though I love scarves and stuff like that, and I will wear them around my house, I haven't really gotten to that point where I do wear scarves outside. And 9 out of 10 times, I actually said to myself, the country opens back up on Monday, coming the 12th. So I am looking to go to the hair store to go and get some scarves in different colors, because if I get to a point where I don't want to don a wig, then at least if I have a scarf that goes with an outfit, I can, try and work with that. And I'm gonna spend some time this weekend looking at YouTube tutorials and on how to tie scarves and different fashionable ways in which I can wear them, and probably get some nice drop earrings that will, make the look a little bit nicer. So that is something else that I'm looking into as a coping mechanism. But I think my struggle for the fact that I have to have something on my head at all times is because of the way in which my loss is. So I've got literally from this part to here, there is no hair at all the way around to the back, all the way around there. So it's not even to the sense where if I had a little bit of hair at the front, I could do something. I've literally got hair. If you think of those monk movies back in the days where they've just got that bit of hair in the middle, that's it for me. So I've got just, that's it. So the planning and the process that I go through, it's a lot. It really is. And I get so frustrated. I've turned down so many invitations. I've not
Mhm.
got places because of this condition. Because if I'm not in the mood to go through all of that, then I'm not going.
Yeah. I mean, you make me want to tear up about it. So like, I was like, "Oh," I feel it hurts to hear like I'm not able to go places, like um because of it. Because who wants to
Yeah,
be at a place where if you want to go somewhere, you can't because of feeling insecure about it.
yeah,
Um, so I'm glad that you're finding ways to cope. You're finding other alternatives, and I'm excited about this summer. You get into a place where you're confident enough to cut it all off. So you be like, I don't care. I'm gonna go everywhere I want to go, and nobody can tell me anything.
yeah.
So
So
I'm
that's
excited
what
for
I'm
you.
waiting for. Hopefully, I hope I don't. I don't think I'm gonna chicken out because I've said to my daughter, whatever the case is, just make sure you catch me on a day when I am good, because I have to be in a good mental place for me to make that move. Because and it's one of those ones, once you've done it, you can't undo it.
Yeah.
So yes, I need to be in a good place mentally where I am feeling great about myself. And touching on the good mental space, I was such a surface person before this condition. So my external being, what I looked like, the fact that I didn't have to worry about, you know, my hair. I could just get up, and if I needed a ponytail, I could pull it back in a ponytail. Whatever it was, I was able, I had control. This was in my control. And I realized how much of a surface person or how vain I was. And I realized also that, did I really love myself? I don't think I did. I didn't really love me. I didn't know who I was because I was so focused on how I presented myself and what I put out there for the public to see. I didn't even take the time out to think about who I was internally. And I was a very critical person as well.
Mm.
To have gone through this situation, it has humbled me in ways that I didn't even know I could be humbled. Because where I used to look at somebody who probably was going through something similar to me and not know that they were going through it, I would have formed an opinion in my head of, okay, what's wrong with, can't she do something about her hair? Doesn't she see that? But there was no thought behind what I thought. Now I'm in that predicament. I have had to learn to love me from within. I have learned to tame myself to not criticize or critique someone on their look, whether it's to do with their hair or anything at all. I've had to learn not to be judgmental because you don't know what someone is going through. You don't know what their experience is. You don't know what's caused that condition or caused them. And, for me now, when someone sees me with an hairstyle that I've done and they pass a compliment, I now know how great that makes me feel because I know I've got less. So when someone genuinely says to me, you look beautiful, oh wow, that looks so nice on you, it literally means something to me. Whereas in before, if someone said to me, you're beautiful, I'd be like, I know. There wouldn't be a thank you then, but now there is a thank you because you've actually taken the time out to see me with as little as I've got and still pass a compliment. It means more to me. So yeah, that is one of the great things about this, is learning to love me from within. Whereas in before, that surface feeling, it was so empty. It was literally that there was nothing to it. So I wouldn't say I'm happy for the experience, but I'm happy with what I've learned about me in the process of this experience.
Yeah, I think that's real dynamic. Like the fact that you've kind of grown from this experience.
Yeah.
I think from, and hopefully a lot of people get to that place, because I think a lot of people probably are still in the darker space. Like, it's been years for you, and it's been years for me too. A lot of people may be in the darker space, especially when they're first researching and trying to find out things. They're probably like, let me try to figure out how to save as much hair as possible, or I'm losing all my hair, what can I do? For me, I was teased about my hair since I was in elementary school. So I've always had some kind of issue with my hair. I've
Yeah.
definitely been more shallow, but in terms of my hair, I've always been insecure. So this has actually made me feel more secure with the little bit of hair that I got,
Yeah.
than before, when I had more hair and I felt terrible about it because I was teased since I was younger. So it's kind of flipped it, but
Yeah.
it's also made me more appreciative. And I think that's what you're saying also. Like, I appreciate more of what I have now, because it's fleeting. Who knows? Anything, like, what tomorrow will bring.
Yeah.
Um, and I think also it's taught me some things about, like, certain things I'm willing to do, and what I'm willing to do for my health or whatever, because you have to do certain things.
Yeah.
If you want to maintain, if you want to live a better life.
True. True. What you put in your body is very, very important, because I think, especially when you seek medical help, some doctors can make you feel like, okay, I'm giving you this medication. The fact you don't want to take it means you don't want to help yourself. But what you're saying is that I am in control of me. I've come to you. And sometimes it's not that we go and seek medical advice or attention for the medication. Sometimes it's just for confirmation, because when you're struggling with a situation for as long as you are naturally going to go through the process of thinking, did I do something wrong? What have I done wrong? So when you get that confirmation that, no, actually you didn't do anything wrong, this is out of your control, this is what it is, the relief comes from the confirmation. You don't want the medication, because most people know that medications comes with side effects. And knowing you and knowing yourself, you can make that valid choice as, do I want to put something in my body that may help this condition but triggers 3 different conditions? Or I'm just going to accept that this is my situation and find coping mechanism that is going to help me tolerate what I'm going through. And for me, by the time I got diagnosed, I didn't want medication. And maybe there is a good reason why it took so long for me to be diagnosed, because maybe if I was diagnosed from the moment the condition started, I might have taken all those medication. I may have used all those things that were being given to me. Who knows? I probably would have, because I would have been in that mindset where I'm using this to prevent losing more hair. Whereas by the time I lost the hair, I didn't want a preventative, because there was literally nothing left to save, more or less. So, be careful of the choices. This is for anybody else that you make. But at the same time, if you choose to take your medication, make sure you educate yourself on what it is that you're putting in your body.
Definitely, I feel like, especially with the drugs that are offered for Lichen Planopilaris, the side effects are drastic. Like, even taking a topical. So I took the topical for a while, and if it got into your eyes, this is something that goes in your head. You
Yeah.
sweat. If it goes into your eye, you could be blind.
Yep.
What? I did take it. I ain't gonna say I never took it. I did take it, the topical, and nothing, and it didn't help me. But after taking the topical and I could go blind, I'm like, is it worth me going blind?
No.
I couldn't even. The funny part is, like, this is even so ridiculous, but I'm thinking about it and talking to you. I'm putting this, and no offense to anyone who's taking it, but I'm taking this thing to look at my hair. But if I go blind, I won't be able to even see my hair.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, just, you do have to do the research. You really have to listen to the side effects, because I think sometimes we don't read the fine print. We're too busy in it, and we're like, oh well, it'll grow my hair back. But for the most part, from the research I've done, which isn't extensive, but I think with this video, I continue to say, I'm gonna learn more. We're gonna all learn more together. It doesn't. It might stop. It might stop the flare up for that moment if you do the injections, but most people still continue to have flare-ups after it. It doesn't stop anything, and people continue to lose hair. I
That's it.
haven't read anyone who said ongoing long term the shots have helped them not lose their hair, to be honest. I've never seen that. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen to some people, but I haven't seen in this case with this type of hair loss, not saying all, that this has helped long term. I haven't heard that. So
Yeah.
it's kind of hard for me to be like, go ahead and take this cure or this treatment.
Yeah. And I think medically, there isn't really anything. I mean, generally, people who get diagnosed, they get told that there is no cure. So you're being told this is a condition. You could end up with total hair loss and other skin conditions alongside. Unfortunately, there isn't a cure for it. So when you leave a I mean, there's some doctors and some dermatologists that will try and educate you as best as possible, but you're pretty much walking away with little or no information in terms of how to cope. And, you know, what they are doing is they're giving you what is on the market. And sometimes you are trialing these medication for them. So they really rely back on you to get a feedback as to whether it works or not. And up until 2017, when I got diagnosed, when I was being given the medications, there was nothing to say that they cured or they reverted or anything like that. They were just stuff that they said, okay, this might work. And if it doesn't work, you come back and tell us and we'll try something else. So that to me seemed like I was testing the product for you to come back and tell you if it did work, because you didn't know if it worked. So I don't want to be someone who is testing out medication that could trigger something else in my body that I don't want. So yeah, I chose to go medication free, and I don't regret the decision I've made, because as I said, I had already lost my hair. So what else was I gonna lose? Nothing. It's not really taken any years off me. It's just caused me to explore and research and trial stuff for myself that are more natural, that has not really triggered any other side effects in me at all. And that I can live with for the rest of my life.
Yeah. I think as long as you can live with whatever the consequences are, then feel free, feel free to do it. And definitely, I got the feeling way back when I did it that I was the guinea pig. And that's what gave me I was like, the person was like, well, we could set up the injections into your head. And I was like, let me think about it. And then I thought about it and I was like, nah, I'm good. In my head, I was like, no. And I did the research. I did some research and I thought about it and I was like, no, because you don't know. And there's no way to say that this is going to work. We'll try this and we'll see if it works.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I can't get down with that. So I definitely feel that way. Like we're still kind of being guinea pigs. I spoke with someone recently, a friend of mine, and she was telling me about a hair loss story she had. She doesn't have Lichen Planopilaris, but she had something else. I think she had alopecia areata. And I think what people need to understand is that although they're all forms of alopecia, because alopecia is hair loss, they all are different.
They are.
And so a lot of people, I'll tell them, oh, I have this form of alopecia. They're like, oh, I know someone who did this and their hair grew back. And I'm like, well, it's different. And she got a shot and her hair grew back. But when you have alopecia areata, you could get the shot and your hair grows back. You can also do the hair treatment, the take one put in another hair. With this type of hair loss, you can't do that because one, you have the scarring, but also it probably could trigger another flare up if you get it done. So you don't have the same options. But she was like, it's been like, I'm a little off, a few years off of it being like 10 years. And she was like, it's been so long and you are like making videos and stuff, but you haven't went back. What if they change? What if they have new resources? I'm like, I've seen stuff and it don't seem like they do. But she brought up a good point. Like, especially if I'm being a poster child for this, like I
Yeah.
need to go back because it's been so long. She's like, things could have changed in all the time that you went. And I'm like, it didn't. But
Mm.
I committed that I'll go back. So I'm probably
Yeah.
gonna try to go back maybe before the end of the year just to hear them say something. I mean, they'll probably tell me the same old thing, but it's
But at least
important
you
to,
get, yes, at least you gave yourself that option to
yeah, at least
try.
try and see
Yeah.
what they say. And then also be able to tell other people because I'm talking about it and I need to be educated on it. Instead of just saying, I don't think there's any cure. What if they come and they're like, well, actually, we found a cure in 10 people. And I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know. So I
It's,
thought that
it's
was interesting.
it's interesting because I've had women reach out to me even as late as recent as last week. And she said to me, I got diagnosed today. Any suggestions on what I can use or how I can cope? And I'm thinking, okay, if you've gone to a dermatologist and you've been diagnosed today, why have they not advised you on what to use and what to this and what to that? And she's like, oh, I'm in such a really bad place mentally and stuff like that. And that's the next thing, when dermatologists are updating you or advising or confirming that you've got these conditions, they need to also make recommendations for your mental health, because it is a struggle. You get to, it's literally being told that you've got a condition that there is no cure for, and you're just giving somebody that information to go home with. What can you suggest in terms of support for their mental health? When you go home, you're going to have all these feelings, you're going to have all these questions. Is there a support group? So these are things that people need to, people in the medical field need to find out for themselves. Okay, I might not have the answer, but if you log on to this link or whatnot, or go online, there is some information on our system that can basically advise you, or we've got some some pamphlets or whatever it is that we've put together with 5 or 10 of the questions that you would generally ask, to give you some kind of update or some advice as to how you can cope. Because I think that's what people want, is that reassurance. Or don't say that it's just one set of people that has it. Don't, because it isn't, especially if it's a new condition. Get your information straight and say, you know what, it is a disease that is out there, and it's not as common as some other diseases. But as the years have gone by, I think a lot more people are getting diagnosed with it. So there should be more information on it. It shouldn't be down to the people who have been diagnosed to do their own research and formulate strategies for other people. It should medically be there for you to have information, because it's not a new condition. It's been around you've had it for 10 years. You got diagnosed close to 10 years ago. So why isn't there more information on the market about it?
Yeah, I think you're bringing up some great points. Like now I'm like, oh, you know what I'm going to do next? One of my thoughts is, because I was thinking, oh, how could I talk to a doctor about this? Like a dermatologist who knows enough. Now that I
Yeah.
think with what you just said, I'm still going to probably try that, but I'm also going to try to reach out if there's an organization around this, or maybe an alopecia organization, reach
Mm.
out to them about seeing if there could either be like a community created for it, and or if there could be documentation created. And then, not to say that we won't be guinea pigs, we would still be guinea pigs. I don't got to test anything out, but
Mm.
even if you did a survey with all the people who had it, then you would
Yeah.
get new data. So I
Yeah.
think that could be a great next step into helping the community. And I would love to do something like that. So I think I'm going to look up some information to see who I could reach out to, who would be the best person to reach out
Yeah.
um, to see what we could do to kind of inform people. Because it would be nice if, I see like there's people like with lupus, people have these little documents and then they give you the lupus document and then people walk off and like, okay, I could read up on this, blah, blah, blah. But with this, you do have to kind of do your own research. There's no documentation. And I think the bedside manner would help the dermatologist. Like if I was a dermatologist and someone said, actually, we have a little packet here by the Lichen Planopilaris organization, and here's
Mm.
the document. You don't have to do anything. We create all the paperwork for you. And it tells you some new up-to-date data, organization you could join or places you could go. I think it would be so helpful to people. So all I could do is try. I don't know if it's going to be effective, but I think reaching out to see what could happen would be good, because I
Yeah,
think that's a great point to bring up. Like, there's
yeah, it
no one
is
kind of giving you information in the field.
true. Yeah, because I think even with alopecia, there is a lot more information out there on alopecia. Even I think in the UK, if a woman suffers from alopecia, she can be referred to a cosmetologist to get a wig fitted for it for
Oh,
free.
that's nice.
Whereas, so with alopecia, it is more of an accepting, autoimmune disease. Whereas with Lichen Planopilaris, it is something like you tell someone and they're like, what? Never heard of it before, because there isn't really a lot of education about it. There isn't a lot of information out there about it. And that needs to change, especially with the amount of people getting diagnosed day in, day out. And, you know, being knowledgeable about any condition you're going through sometimes is even better than the medication that they're giving you, because once you have knowledge on it and you understand what your triggers are, you know what to avoid, you know what to do, okay, being told that stress is a trigger. We live in a stressful world. You can't control stress. You can control how you react to some levels of stress, but not all stress, because being diagnosed is stressful enough. Leading up to the diagnosis, you were stressed because of what you were going through. The fact that there isn't a cure, just manageable things that are not even helping, is a stress, because you are taking something with the anticipation that it's going to work and it's not working. So that again is a stress. So as far as I'm concerned, there needs to be more out there. And yeah, I mean, I we still dermatologists are still not seeing people face to face here in the UK at the moment. So things are still being done via Zoom or um, via other platforms. But the next time I do speak to dermatologists, yeah, I'm very keen to also find out some more information. Is there any new content at all? Is there any updated information on this condition? And what can be done? What are the medications? Because there are quite a lot of medications out there, but some of them weren't even made for this condition. They're just stuff that they're trialing and you're using them. And because the knowledge is not vast on this condition, how are you to know that what you're giving someone is not going to have an adverse reaction or trigger something different, or basically contribute even to more hair loss than there is? Has anyone done any research into whether, if someone has scarring on their scalp, what can be done to reverse that? Has anything been done? What causes scarring? How do you get rid of it? How do you reopen up follicles that are dying or are dead? Is there anything at all? So there is just a lot of information, that a lot more that can be done, I think. And I think because they put down this condition as cosmetic, or it's not seen as something major, it's just gone and it's just been pushed into a corner, and it's not revisited often enough until someone comes up with the symptoms again and they diagnose you, or they do. The most they will do is a biopsy, as far as I know. That's it. So yeah, I'm very keen, if not for myself, but for the younger generation coming up, to find out what can be done, because losing your hair is a really stressful thing. Um, it really is. It's not a nice
It's
feeling.
Yeah, I think especially for women, it can be debilitating. And
Yeah.
a lot of people, I remember when I was diagnosed and I was in the room and the guy told me, I was crying. And I guess the assistant was like, are you okay? She was a Black woman. She had short hair, but she didn't get it either, which was kind of annoying to me. I'm
Yeah.
like, but you Black, you understand how much my hair, you a Black woman, you understand how much my hair means to me, you
Mhm.
know? But I was crying. And so I think if I wasn't me, if I was someone else, who knows where I could be, you know?
Mm.
So I think people should take it more seriously. I mean, there's definitely worse diseases out there,
Oh
but
yeah.
just knowing more about it, especially because it causes stress.
It does.
Learning you're losing your hair causes stress. And stress, we know, causes other big diseases.
Mm,
So
yeah, definitely.
we could find out more. So yeah, thanks for that. What advice would you give to others who are struggling with the disease?
What advice would I give? My advice would be the minute you get diagnosed or confirmed that you've got it, grieve. Allow yourself to feel, because sometimes when we get diagnosed with situation, especially when we have other people that we talk to in our lives, they're like, oh, don't worry about it, don't, it's only hair, why
Yep.
are you stressing for, and all that kind of stuff. So give yourself permission to feel what you're feeling. Just don't stay in that place. Once you've gone through your grieving process of, you've been told you've got a condition that is going to stay with you for the rest of your life, and you are possibly going to lose all your hair, of course you're going to feel something, because this has been with you all your life. You've had hair, you've been in control of what and how you treat your hair and what you do with it. So to lose something that you've had, it's almost like losing a limb. And you should be allowed to feel whatever emotion you're feeling, and go through that process. But once you've done that, then educate yourself. Log and document your triggers. Stay away from things that basically would trigger you. If obviously that stress is something, you lead a stressful life, find little things you can do for yourself, whether that's going for a walk, whether that is reading a book or listening to certain music, whatever it is that you need to do to come down from that place each day, just so that you're unwinding and you're relaxing for the next day. Do it. Give yourself permission to feel great about yourself. Lock yourself in your bathroom and have a nice relaxing bath, whatever. Do those things. Look at the food that you eat. Change up your diet if needs be. Eat healthier food. Prepare your meals at home if you can, and use more natural products, because a lot of chemicals are in the things that we buy outside. And if you can basically go back to the basics and eat and cook the way that if you think about when you were growing up, if you're someone who grew up in a household that your parents or grandparents made stuff that were natural, you realize that those were the better things. I love my vegetables, I love fruits, I love anything that is from the earth. I am not someone, I don't drink milk because I don't think it's a good thing for me, and I think it's one of my triggers. So I stay away from milk, but I've found alternatives that I can tolerate. So it's about getting to understand what you put in your body and how your body reacts to it, and just basically sticking to those things. Um, for women that have decided to go bald, find a look that suits you. I've always said that, embrace yourself and basically try and do things that is going to make you feel confident within yourself, so that when you step out of your home, you just naturally pull people's energy towards you. And when someone says something unkind or mean to you, I'm not saying that you aren't human and you don't have feelings. But if I get up and I basically doll myself up and I put my clothes on and I step out there and someone says something negative, I'll just brush it off like, you're not that important. I don't know you. And a lot of times we take on what people say and we allow it to affect us. And these are people you don't even know. If you're not in my family bubble or my circle, why should your opinion count? So, you've got to learn to shut the noise out and react to the things that are important, because 9 out of 10 times when we're going through personal things, the things that we tend to allow to trigger us aren't even important. When you sit back and look at it and you think, oh my God, I allowed myself to get caught up in that. And it's really not even something that is important. It's not coming from someone that is important to you. So try and just focus more on positive things, and do things that basically contribute towards your energy in a positive way. Those are my advices.
No, I think that definitely makes sense. Like trying to figure out what your triggers are. I say that like people ask like, what did you do? Blah, blah, blah in the comments on my video. And I'm like, figure out your triggers. Like to me, that's the best advice if you're doing anything natural. And definitely find ways to not stress, which I think is the
It's hard. Yeah.
hardest thing to do. Because even if I'm like, I'm not stressing, my body's like, but you stressed out. You know, I can't like the back of my conscious, the back of my conscious, my
Yeah.
subconscious is like, you are stressed out. And I don't even know sometimes. Like I'm just so used to lying to myself about not stressing. I'm like, I'm not stressing, and my body's like, you're stressed.
You are.
You know,
Yeah.
so taking that time to rest, getting the rest and relaxation. So I totally agree to everything that you just suggested. And I
Cool.
hope people can find ways to work around it, because I definitely think you need time to mourn. And I've had time to mourn. So I guess I'm more on the other side of it. Like,
Yeah.
okay, but I ain't fully mourn yet. You know, I still it's gradual. So I still have moments like, okay, I know that I can't do this anymore with my hair. I know that I have to keep it short, you know. But there is definitely different moments that you have to go through and deal
True.
with consistently.
And speak to your family circle as well, because they should be your biggest support system. So, you know, even if you wake up and you're feeling a bit low within yourself, you know, the people around you that you love and who care about you should be able to embrace you and uplift you and make you feel like, you know what, girl, don't worry about it today. You know what, it is what it is. But find things that will distract you from how you're feeling to make you feel even better. So it is a very important thing to do, is to talk to your family. And if you haven't got family, then find friends or find a support group. You know, this video that is being created is for someone who has no one or has no one to talk to. So, you know, just make sure that you have something or someone that can encourage you, because sometimes that's all we need, a little bit of encouragement to help us and gear us towards tomorrow, so we can feel uplifted and we can embrace this condition that we don't necessarily have any control over, but control your emotions. You can do that.
Agreed. I totally agree to everything you just said. Okay, so I feel like we went through every question on the list, even if it was like not consciously. Like
Yeah,
we've been
yeah,
flowing and talking and saying all the things.
yeah.
So I just want to thank you, Geneva, for taking the time to chat with me. I know that you have your own platform, so I'm going to promote them now. Could you tell me what they are so everyone can check them out?
Thank you. Thank you so much. And it was lovely talking to you too, and hearing, you know, about your how you've coped and what you've done and what your triggers are sometimes. So yeah, and I wish you all the best in your promotion, and do stay in touch. Let me know what feedbacks you've had. It'd be
I will.
interesting to hear.
I definitely will. I was saying, could you also promote
Oh
your
yeah.
social plugs? Plug all your social stuff now, and then I'll put it on the screen whilst you say it.
Okay, so you can check me out on just gonna find my pages, because I'm not that much of a social media person. This is new to me. I've got a group on Instagram called Lichen Planopilaris Journal. I've got a YouTube channel. I think generally, if you get onto that platform, it will link you to my YouTube channel. And I've got on Facebook, just Lichen Planopilaris, a page called that, which I've got a lot of activity on a daily basis. So you can check me out on that as well.
Well, I'm going to follow you on all those platforms, and I'm
Thank
suggesting that everyone else follows her, because she was willing to do this. Like I just hit her up randomly and was like, hey, I want to do this video. And she was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And she made it happen. And I think it was just, you have such a powerful story. Many times I felt like tearing up. Honestly, I was tearing up a little bit. And we've been talking for like 3 hours, You guys
Well,
only get a little bit, but it's just been powerful. I feel like I've learned so much, and I'm so grateful to you for coming
thank,
on.
thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, thanks again, and I will chat with you later.
All right, then. You take care. And
All
have a
right.
good day. All right, then. Bye.